In the autumn of 1963, a quiet village vanished from the map. No one remembers when it happened, only that a young woman named Eleanor Pike drove into the fog one night and never came back. Her car was found, the engine still running, the door half open. What happened on that bridge still haunts the few who dare to remember. I'm Papa Joe of the Moon Camp, and tonight, we return to the place where the mist never lifts, and the dead still drive home. This is the last night at Brookhaven.
The last night at Brookhaven. The rain came without warning, soft at first, then wild and heavy, turning the narrow country road into a dark mirror. Somewhere along that slick stretch of highway, Eleanor Pike vanished. It was October 2nd, 1963. She was 27, a schoolteacher from London, and on her way to visit her mother in Brookhaven, a quiet village buried between fields and pine forests. Her last known call came from a payphone outside a roadside cafe called the Lantern Inn. "Almost there," she told her mother. "The fog's rolling in. I'll see you soon." She never arrived. By morning, her little blue Morris Minor was found idling on the verge near Hollows Bridge. Doors locked, headlights still on. The engine hummed weakly, sputtering its last breaths. Inside, the driver's seat was empty, but the passenger door hung slightly ajar. A single red scarf fluttered from the fence nearby, caught on a nail. Detective Harold Brandt, a stoic man with years behind him, crouched by the bridge and stared into the murky stream below. "If she went in," he muttered, "we'd have found her by now." Divers searched for days. Nothing, no footprints beyond the car, no signs of struggle, no witnesses. Only the mist that lingered over Hollows Bridge long after the rain had gone. Brookhaven was a place that time forgot. Cobblestone streets, gas lamps, and cottages wrapped in ivy. The villagers spoke softly, eyes darting to the woods whenever the wind rose. Brandt stopped at the Lantern Inn, the last place Eleanor had been seen. The innkeeper, a thin woman with gray eyes, greeted him cautiously. "I remember her," she said. "Pretty girl. Asked for directions to the bridge. I told her not to take the old road after dark." "Why?" "Because the bridge doesn't always stay where it should." Brandt frowned. "Doesn't stay?" She only shrugged. "Brookhaven moves, Inspector. The forest decides where you go if you're not careful." Days later, Eleanor's mother received a parcel, postmarked the very day Eleanor disappeared. Inside was a diary, wrapped in brown paper. The first entries were mundane. Lesson plans, errands, letters unsent. But the last few pages were unsettlingly vivid. September 30th, I had the dream again. The road was endless. The trees whispered names I didn't know. Someone kept asking if I remembered him. October 1st, the fog came early. I think I saw someone in the woods, a man in a coat too long for him. He was watching me. October 2nd, the bells. I heard bells by the bridge. There's no church near here. When I turned to look, the road was gone. The final line was written in shaky ink. "If anyone finds this, don't follow the sound." Detective Brandt stayed in Brookhaven through the winter, unable to let the case go. He walked the same roads Eleanor had driven, visited the same bridge, the same inn. Each night, fog drifted in from the fields, thick and luminous in the moonlight. He began to notice things, faint footprints in the mud that led nowhere, the smell of salt in the air though the sea was miles away, and a strange echo in the woods that sounded like a bell being rung underwater. Once, he thought he saw Eleanor herself, standing on the far side of Hollows Bridge, her scarf glowing faintly red in the mist. He called out. She didn't move. When he crossed the bridge, there was only the river below, perfectly still. An old farmer finally told him the story. "That bridge is cursed," the man said, "built over an old pilgrimage path. They say when the mist's thick enough, the road splits. One way leads back to Brookhaven. The other doesn't lead anywhere a living soul should go." "What happens if you take the wrong one?" Brandt asked. "You keep driving," the farmer replied, eyes clouded. "And the road keeps stretching. You'll see lights, hear bells, maybe even voices. But it's not this world you're in anymore." Brandt said nothing, but later that night he took his car and drove the same route Eleanor had. He reached Hollow's Bridge at midnight, fog curling like smoke, headlights carving narrow tunnels through it. For a moment, he saw another car ahead of him, identical to Eleanor's blue Morris Minor, taillights glowing faintly. Then it turned the bend and vanished. When he reached the bend, there was only darkness and the echo of church bells in the distance. Months later, the river receded after a spring thaw. Divers searching beneath Hollow's Bridge found not one, but two cars half buried in the mud, both matching Eleanor's description, both with the same license plate. Inside one, the skeleton of a woman clutching a diary. Inside the other, dust, cobwebs, and a note taped to the dashboard in faded ink. I found her, but she found me first. H. Brandt. The authorities sealed off the bridge, declaring it unsafe. Brookhaven slowly emptied in the following years. The inn closed, the shops boarded up. By the 1980s, the village had disappeared from most maps. But every few years, hikers or lost motorists claim to see the signpost to Brookhaven appear at the edge of the moor. Wooden, weather-worn, pointing down a foggy lane that isn't there the next day. Some say if you follow it, you can still hear the toll of distant bells and see a woman in a red scarf standing by a bridge that shouldn't exist. In 1992, a letter arrived at Scotland Yard, addressed simply to the inspector. No return address, no date. The handwriting was elegant, feminine, and strangely familiar. I found the road again, it read. It's quieter now. The mist doesn't fight me anymore. Tell Mother I'm all right. The bells have stopped. At the bottom was a faint ring of water, as if from raindrops or tears. Today, the stretch of road where Hollow's Bridge once stood is overgrown with nettles and brambles. The stream runs shallow, and the bridge itself has crumbled into ruin. But travelers still report strange things when the fog rolls in. A flicker of headlights on an empty road, a woman's voice asking for directions, and the toll of bells that seem to come from beneath the earth. No one ever finds the source. No one ever finds Brookhaven. And sometimes, when the night is very still, a red scarf flutters briefly in the wind before disappearing into the mist. You've been listening to the Moon Camp podcast, where the night never ends, and the stories never really sleep. I'm Papa Joe, reminding you, the world's quietest places often hold the loudest secrets. Until next time, keep your lights low and your ears open.